I, nearly adult male, hadn't spoken to my father in little over a year until he called me to tell his wife was pregnant and high risk, and he wanted me to help look after her. My reason for not speaking to my father is he had an affair with his wife while he was married to my mom. They worked together, she was his boss technically, and when they found out, they were fired. She was his supervisor, and it was against the rules to be involved with someone you're in a position of power over, but they also did stuff at work, which was also against the rules. They tried to blame Mom and attempted to disparage her to me and others because they were angry Mom was so angry at them. My father's wife said she'd done nothing wrong and didn't like the hostility aimed at her when she was an innocent party. I was a younger teen when this all went down. He brought this woman into our home, expected us to be kind to her and accept that they wanted to be happy together. He expected me to be more welcoming than I was. I told him to go screw himself and that I didn't want to be around either of them, and they were disgusting. My father had every other weekend custody of me through the divorce proceedings, but my mom and I fought and won the ability for me to decide if I wanted to go to his place or not. Once that was in my hands, I stopped all contact with him and refused to step inside his house. So he called me to tell me about his wife's pregnancy and how it's high risk. I didn't answer, but he left a voicemail. He called me back a few times until I answered. He said she's unable to work and she's home alone a lot while he works. She can't do much for herself, and he wanted me to help care for her and their house. I was like, no way am I taking care of his wife. He said if I don't want to do it for them, think of the baby who will be my little brother. And he was like, surely you'll want a relationship with him? I said, nope. I won't ever see his new kid and I won't be his kid's big brother. My father was saying that's not how you treat family. I told him he ceased to be my family when he decided to try and turn me against Mom and brought his side piece into the family home. I told him Mom had done nothing wrong. He cheated, and there he was trying to poison me against her. My father argued that it had nothing to do with me. I pointed out he made it something to do with me when he tried to use me. He protested some more and said he needed help. I said he could take care of his wife, and when it came to that, he could take care of his family and leave me alone. He lectured me about people needing help occasionally, and I'm being a little idiot about this. He said she could lose the baby if forced to do too much. I told him that wasn't my problem. Am I the idiot for telling my estranged father he can take care of his own wife? Not the idiot. Your father sounds like a narcissist. Stay away, otherwise he will make your life a nightmare. He created this situation and could hire someone to care for his wife. He's also putting you in a bad position. If something bad happens to his wife, it could be anything out of your control. He will blame you and try to put that burden on you. You're not even an adult yet and should be going out and living your life. The part that gets me is his new wife saying she did nothing wrong. She had an affair with a married man and that marriage broke up. And if she didn't do anything wrong, where are all her friends? Why aren't they rallying around her? Just what is doing something wrong in her opinion? They're both narcissists. This is what makes little sense. Their first resort is OP. They must have lost many friends and family members over this if they're this desperate. OP, you can work to forgive him for yourself, but that doesn't mean you have to have a relationship. Something I've learned is that not everyone deserves to be forgiven. Losing employment from a work affair with your boss is a foreseeable outcome. Alienating your kid by trying to bring your affair partner home is a very foreseeable outcome. Having a high-risk pregnancy over 40 is a very foreseeable outcome. OP, I don't know what kind of shrooms your father is smoking, but it's better to stay far away from him. Your dad makes decisions without considering dealing with the consequences of his actions. You aren't responsible for trying to take care of him in that. He will learn or not on his own time. I, 49 male, am getting married to my fiancée, 41 female, in a month, and the wedding preparations have gone well except for one issue. My fiancée's family is primarily conservative and thus unsupportive of same-gender relationships. My fiancée's siblings plan to bring their children to our wedding. They obviously wouldn't want their kids to witness a gay couple at our wedding, then they'd need to explain the situation to them, so we decided to disinvite my son's 21 partner and his 20s male from our wedding to avoid such issues. I thought my son would be mature about it and understand our side, but instead he kicked up a huge fuss about it, saying that I'm an idiot and embarrassed by him, and that if his boyfriend can't attend the wedding, then he won't either. He's being really unreasonable, especially because he and his boyfriend haven't even been together for that long, so it's not like he's really entitled to be invited to any family events yet. And my fiancé does take my side. However, my son is vehement that I'm an idiot and even got his mom, my ex-wife, to essentially gang up on me about this issue. Am I the idiot? Edit, my fiancé and I don't plan to hide it per se, but it doesn't mean it needs to be thrown into their faces either. You are the idiot. You made a major mistake and invited the wrong people. The bigot should be told not to come, not your son's partner. If your fiancée is defending her family's bigotry over your son's existence, then the one person you should have uninvited was her. You've essentially told him that you're ashamed of his perfectly normal lifestyle. I hope you're ready to be iced out of his life if you continue down this path. Oh, they're conservative? No, sweetie, they're toxic idiots. And by you thinking it's acceptable to cater that crap, makes you a toxic idiot as well. You've just shown your son where your loyalties lie, with your coward fiancée and her awful family instead of your own child. Don't be surprised when you're not invited to his wedding someday. He's correct. He's not the immature one here. That would be you. Forget the wedding, what about the rest of your life? Who marries someone who thinks his child is a deviant monster? Who invites a room full of people to anything if they think your child is evil? It's not just the wedding. This poor kid's dad straight up chose a family of ignorant bigots over his own child. It never ends. It is never about alienating a person for a single event. It's about alienating them for the remainder of your combined lives. Sorry, son, you can't come to Christmas this year because I have to choose my nieces and nephews from my second wife's family over you, because you have the big gay. I don't know how to explain to my bigger in-laws that love is love. Your son would be a fool to ever speak to you again, OP. Hope your marriage works out because it's all you will have in your life. I won a substantial lawsuit against my city. It's a lot of money, and I did what I always said I would do if I ever won the lottery. I paid off my parents' mortgage, and I bought a duplex and gave each half to my brother and sister. I'm investing the rest of the money so I'll never have to work again and enjoy the rest of my life. My family had me over last weekend because I'm leaving for Indonesia to begin traveling worldwide. They said that we have family and friends who need help and that I was selfishly blowing the money on myself and basically retiring at 29. I said that I'd already done a lot for my immediate family and that if they felt so strongly about it, between the three of them, they had over $1 million in equity that they could tap with a loan. Then they could work to pay off their new mortgages. It started a fight because my dad had cut back on his work. After all, he no longer has a mortgage, and neither of my siblings would qualify for a mortgage on their own. I walked out and went home to finish packing. They won't stop texting me and trying to call me. Apparently, I need to work the next 30 years. I don't. My girlfriend is joining me for a year and thinks I'm being mean. I don't think I am. I have enough to last me the rest of my life. If I ever want a house, I can buy one. If I want to have kids, I can pay for their education. But not if I give a big chunk of my money to people I know for a fact will never help me in return. Not the idiot. I'm confident in saying your family went ahead and made promises before talking to you. That's why they're freaking out. Tell your girlfriend that if she's worried, you can cancel her ticket so she can stay and help. They are so entirely out of line that it's unreal. Go travel the world and enjoy yourself. Exactly. Tell your girlfriend if she wants to be a saint, her ticket can be sold off to help heal her guilty conscience. Honestly, this post makes my blood boil because, first of all, it's OP's money. I really like OP's mindset about saving the money and retiring at 29 because that's everyone's dream. You bought your immediate family houses. You've set them up for life. How could anyone see that as mean? Dude, change your number and be careful of the girlfriend who wants you to give away more of your money to ungrateful people. Greed knows no bounds. Your family will spend all of your money if you let them. It doesn't hurt them any to be the one who promises second cousin a car, and they get to puff out their chest and walk around like they're the ones who should be adored. My mom is engaged to Charles, and he and his kids, a young teen male, a female tween and a younger female tween, moved in with us in February. I, a teen female, am the only one in the household who isn't talking about the wedding non-stop. My mom picked up on this a while ago, and then she overheard me tell my friend I just wanted it to be over and that I wasn't excited for the wedding. So she asked if we could talk. It was a difficult conversation. I told my mom that I wasn't totally happy about the wedding, that it's been difficult for me with Dad who died when I was 10 being gone and some things that have been said. I told her I was so glad she was happy and I know Charles helped bring her back to herself. The conversation highlighted that I don't see Charles and his kids as my family and that I'm unsure if I'll ever consider them that way. Some may be relevant info to some of my feelings. When Charles and his kids moved in first, he took me out for pizza and told me he doesn't want us to be a blended family, he wanted us to be just a family, and he doesn't want to be my stepdad, he wants to be my dad. He said he would do everything he does for his kids and will always be there for me. He said we could start trying some dad names for me to call him. I told him I already had a dad, and the sentiment was nice and all, but I was going to be his stepkid. He challenged me on why I could only have one dad and didn't want another one. It was very uncomfortable for me. He and his kids also tagged along when Mom and I went to remember Dad on his anniversary at the diner we went to as a family. His kids talked non-stop about the wedding and we didn't actually get to talk about Dad. Then Charles declared we'd make it a family thing every year, and even when Mom was like, let's just see, he was like, it will be good for bonding. I didn't like that at all. It was the first time I went and did a solo thing to remember Dad because I hated every second of the diner experience. Mom wanted to explore this in family therapy, and I asked for it to be just her and me. She was going to say no, and then she asked why. I told her I would open up more with just her and a therapist, and that I would rather make sure we're okay than work on trying to bond me to others right now. I told her I could see that she was hurting, that I felt the way I do, and I didn't want our relationship to be ruined by this. Mom agreed for therapy to be just me and her. We start next week, but Charles doesn't like that I wanted it to be just Mom and me. I think he was a little offended that I felt this way in the first place and then didn't want to include him and his kids in family therapy. Mom told him she wished it could be all of us, but she didn't want to push me away or waste money by taking all of us if I found it difficult to open up around them. Charles told me I was putting my mom in a bad place and I was selfish, and he's only ever tried to show me how he loves me and will be my dad happily. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Charles needs to back off. He's pushing it too hard and is actively hurting everyone. Having his kids present and forcing them to hear everything you say would be cruel and unnecessary. Yeah, Charles needs to learn that not everything is about him. You want to do therapy with your mom because you recognize that something is fundamentally wrong between you and you need help processing and fixing it. Charles wants to do everything together because he has the skewed idea that he slots right into your life because he's marrying your mom. Honestly, your mom might be the biggest idiot here. She knows Charles is upsetting you, and she's letting it happen. Maybe it's what she also wants. Maybe because it's just easier to give in to what he wants. Oh goodness, another teenager who's going to cause issues for her mother, who is trying to find happiness again with what sounds like a very nice man after being widowed. What has Charles and his kids done to you to cause you to begin to cause chaos? Because that's what you're about to do. None of these people are responsible for your father's death. And your mother sounds like she's found a wonderful life partner and loving stepkids. Please don't be a source of hurt for those folks who are only trying to do right by you. Sorry, you are the idiot. I, 27 male, am engaged to Sky, 26 female, and we have our bridesmaids and groomsmen chosen already. My groomsmen will be Sky's brother Kai, a great friend of mine, and my best friend Nick. Sky has her two closest friends as bridesmaids. I have a 24-year-old stepsister with whom I'm not close, and Sky has maybe seen twice in our 7-year relationship. She's not in the wedding. She's just a regular guest. This bothered my dad's wife, and she offered us $3,000 towards the wedding to include her daughter. We turned her down. Sky left the decision to me, and I didn't even need to consider it. My dad and his wife are saying I'm unreasonable and I should accept the compromise because her daughter was 4 years old when I became her brother, and they know she feels hurt that she wasn't asked to be a bridesmaid. They said she would be crushed on the day seeing Sky's brother as my groomsman and knowing she wasn't asked to be a bridesmaid as my only sibling. I told them Sky and Kai are close and Kai is one of my closest friends. Sky has met my stepsister twice and I never felt close to her. They said the money should have made an enormous difference and offering that compromise was more than generous. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The wedding party is who the bride and groom feel most deserve the honor and who they want standing with them. It was honestly lovely of the bride to leave the decision up to you, as it's her bridal attendance the stepsister would be part of. The decision has been made, and honestly, does your stepmother think her daughter would feel better knowing the only reason she's in the wedding is because you were bribed into including her? If this is how your stepmother approaches things, I understand why you aren't close to her. I can't imagine your parents are really thinking this through. I'd be devastated to learn I was made a bridesmaid because my parents paid the couple getting married to include me. How can they not see how that's so much worse than being a regular guest? God, that would be so humiliating. I can't even imagine being in that situation. This is so wrong on so many levels. If that $3,000 was accepted, the stepmother would think she was running the wedding. Remind them that the stepsister doesn't need to come if it will be too hard on her. It's not like being in the wedding is a game of game decisions. No amount of money changes the fact that it's your special day. Your parents should respect that.